Welcome to AKC Live, bringing you the latest dog news and entertainment from the American Kennel Club. I'm Sam Ryan. Today, my co-host is Gadget. Hi, Gadget. Gadget's a 7-year-old Shih Tzu from New York City, and he's ready for his close-up. He's exploring the studio just a little bit. He's going to join us throughout the show. And if you want your dog to co-host, send us an email at pitches@akc.tv. Right, Gadget? Yeah, that's you. Well, today's show is a tribute to those dogs who comfort us and serve. 9/11 is a time every year where we reflect on the tragic events of almost 20 years ago. The 9/11 Memorial and Museum has a new exhibit called The Dogs of 9/11. Now, within the days of the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks, thousands of people offered to help search for survivors through this devastation. Alongside many in aid was a dog trained in search and rescue or therapy work. These canine heroes showed courage and dedication alongside their human handlers. This exhibit honors and remembers the dogs of 9/11 through art created by a few of their many admirers. The exhibit is on display until the fall of 2019 and includes a Dog New York statue from the American Kennel Club. I'm joined now by AKC's Bud Boccone, who hosts the series In the Doghouse, and you can see the latest episode coming up directly after the show. Be sure to go to akc.tv to watch. This In the Doghouse episode is about the dogs of 9/11, so let's take a look.
The painting was commissioned by the American Kennel Club to commemorate those valiant handlers and dogs who worked that burning hot pile of endless rubble in the aftermath of 9/11. These dogs worked on red-hot metal, breathing this toxic dust. Everybody knew this was terrible for the dogs and the handlers, but it had to be done. They were looking for survivors.
Well, Bud, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing this with us.
You know, Sam, when you said nearly 20 years ago, it's kind of shocking to think that it has been that long. Because for those of us who were here in town that day, it's all still so very, very vivid in our memories.
It is. It's one of those days you reflect back and you think about where was I at that moment, and it's something within all of us if we were here in New York City and throughout our nation. Well, without giving too much away, Bud, we learn in this piece that some of the artwork commemorating the dogs of 9/11 were completed back in 2002. That was just a year after the attacks. How emotional was this?
It was terribly emotional. I mean, I was, guess where? In the doghouse on that day. I was a young guy working at the AKC. I just got there, and we watched with horror these events happening. We went into the video room where all the TV equipment was, and the staff was watching this, and you know, it's so trite. You don't even know what to say about 9/11 because nothing that you can say doesn't sound trite at this time. Right. It was horrifying. It was unbelievable. It was devastating, and you know, it was numbing. Is really what it was. We were numb, and when the AKC got the idea that we had to help out the dogs working the pile, we went through it with great, you know, with everything we had, certainly, but really we were numb for a year or two afterwards. It just almost didn't sink in, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think having this project, having this DOGNY statue program that we put together, where we had these fiberglass statues painted by leading artists in New York City and then deployed in public spaces all around town, it kind of gave us something to do. It was kind of like occupational therapy for 9/11, you know, that we had something to occupy ourselves. And the program was very successful. A couple of hundred of these dogs were deployed all around town, painted by some of the finest artists in New York and some student artists, just kids who painted these dogs, each one in a distinctive way. And it raised awareness for search and rescue work and how underfunded these groups always were. 9/11 was the game changer for a lot of canine workers, not only for the police dogs, but for the volunteer rescue workers all around the country who had been selflessly doing this kind of work for years and years, taking no bows, taking no money. Right. Flying off at a moment's notice to disaster areas to do this grim, horrifying work of trying to find survivors and finding body parts in most cases, you know. this was our way of drawing attention to that. And, you know, I'm not saying the American Kennel Club did it alone, but the American Kennel Club and others were able to draw attention to this kind of canine work that most people never even thought twice about.
You talk about drawing attention to it. How did these tributes educate or change the way people view police dogs?
Well, the police dog, up until 9/11, the police dog was really in disrepute. If you read the writings of Martin Luther King, a recurring theme in his history of the civil rights movement was police dogs being deployed by sheriffs very badly as crowd control, as turning the dogs on protesters and civil rights workers. These images were broadcast all over the world, and people all over the world and in the United States watched in horror as dogs were used in this terrible way by people. And it vividly comes to life in the writings of Dr. King. Today, when I walk through Grand Central Station, I see kids almost lining up to pet the police dog. Right. That was the culmination of a conscious effort by law enforcement to readjust the attitude that the American population had toward their police dogs. The game changer there, although they started changing this attitude before 9/11, the game changer was 9/11. At 9/11, the whole world, instead of seeing dogs being deployed very badly, they saw dogs being deployed exactly right. They saw these magnificent animals, not only the NYPD police dogs, but again, volunteer search and rescue crews from all over the country converging on the pile. It was hot. The dog's fur was singed from the heat of the molten metal. They were sticking their face in this toxic stew of poison, basically. They were sticking their noses right into the poison. The DOGNY program, or Dog New York, as we call it around the office, that really was part of the entire readjustment of the American people's attitude toward their police dogs.
But in this piece, we learn about search and rescue dogs, and that's also a category for the AKC ACE Awards, where 5 heroic dogs were recently honored with 2011 AKC ACE Humane Fund Awards for Canine Excellence. That's what ACE stands for, also known as the ACE Awards. Tell me about this award, Bud, and what can you tell us about the winners? Let's start with the first winner. We're going to begin with the Uniformed Service Canine recipient. This is Cooper from Florida. What can you tell me about this recipient?
Yeah, Copper's Award. ACE Awards come in 2 kinds. Sometimes we give one for one amazing act, one amazing thing that the dog has done. But sometimes it's more of a life achievement award. A long career of service to mankind, and that's Copper's Award. He's just a good all-around police dog. He tracks missing people. He's also used, more and more police departments are doing this, he's used as kind of like a comfort dog if they're interviewing a victim of a violent crime. Somebody's been assaulted, somebody's been raped. It's a traumatic experience, and the police are trying to question that person. They'll bring Copper in and sit him next to the victim. And sure enough, they relax a little bit and they create more of a bond of trust with the officers who are trying to get to the bottom of what happened.
We're going to move on now to the Service Dog Award, going to Samson, a golden retriever from Illinois. So let's talk a little bit about this award. And recipient.
His owner, Joey, was in a horrific accident several years ago and received all sorts of injuries that led to post-traumatic stress disorder. Post-traumatic stress disorder is one of the real, you don't want to say hot, but it's one of the more prevalent ways that service dogs are being deployed these days. She got the service dog, Samson, and Samson is now working with Joey. Joey is a neuroscience researcher. The first thing she did was get her neuroscience research lab at the University of Illinois to admit service dogs. And now that the lab does admit service dogs, she's working on a big service dog study about service dogs in research labs. And you're saying, well, big deal, how many service dogs need access to research labs? Probably not many, that's true. But Joey's story is about access. It's about someday getting full access for people with service dogs, getting their dogs into places where they were never allowed before. The research lab thing is just one little piece in a much bigger picture of full access for people with service dogs. And Samson is our face for that movement for this year.
Making a difference.
Yep.
On to Therapy Dog. The honors go to Cole from Florida. And what can you tell me about this ACE recipient, Cole?
Oh, Cole, this is a very sad story, and there's always one really sad story in this crop. Cole and his owner, Jane Eisenberg, they're from Florida, and they were called in after the Parkland school shootings at Douglas High. And they spent several weeks at Douglas High. They occupied the room directly across from where the shootings took place. And they comforted loved ones, they comforted classmates and faculty and school staff for several weeks on the premises at the school. This is a remarkable dog, a wonderful therapy dog, done well over 400 therapy visits. And again, this is one of those awards where it's not just the dog, he's the face of the movement. He's the face of therapy dogs for this year, for the AKC. But behind this dog, there's a whole team of people who have made this dog possible.
Congratulations. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, search and rescue dog appropriately named Inspector Gadget. Yeah, we
Yeah.
like that name for a search and rescue dog. A bloodhound from California.
Yeah, no relation to Gadget here.
Gadget over here, who's comfortable.
Who would, I think, rather be rescuing a piece of liver right now. But Inspector Gadget is a search and rescue dog from California. He's handled by Bob Wells. I do want to read the name of the organization that accredited him, California Rescue Dog Association. It should be understood that these police dogs, these search and rescue dogs, these therapy dogs, they all have organizations behind them that work very hard at accrediting these dogs for their work, their professional work.
Then this next story we're familiar with, you may be familiar with at home, the exemplary companion dog. The winner is Teddy. Now, Teddy is a poodle from Michigan.
Teddy is a beautiful standard poodle. He belongs to the Party family. Spencer, the son, is a high-functioning autistic boy. Very intelligent, but he has those fears, the anxieties, that social withdrawal that come from, that's common in autistic children. This boy was very closed up. He couldn't mix with his classmates. He was terrified of just about everything. And his mother, thank God, Terry Party, is a psychologist who works in animal-assisted therapy, and she knew what a good dog could do for this boy. She went out and got the standard poodle. Not only has Spencer bonded with the dog, but Spencer has turned out to be a bit of a genius of a dog trainer.
He's a junior handler.
He's everything,
Yes.
Sam. He's everything. Agility, rally, the show ring, obedience titles, everything. This boy is a prodigy, a dog training prodigy. And so far, I think the heartwarming part of the story is that he was able to put on an obedience demonstration for the kids in his class. Yeah. The same kids who he was terrified of and just couldn't deal with and would just clam up around. Now he's a performer. Now he's a very proud member of the dog show and the dog sport community. This all came about because of one dog, and I think if we want to sum up the entire ACE program in one sentence is, this dog has changed my life. Every one of these dogs is completely different breeds, different jobs, different temperaments. They all have the same thing in common. They changed one person's life forever and for the better. And that's what the ACE program is all about.
And Teddy has certainly changed Spencer's life. And we congratulate all the recipients of the ACE Awards, the AKC ACE Awards. Directly following this show, AKC TV is running Bud Boccone in the Doghouse, followed by Canine Heroes, a show that explores the inspiring stories behind each award winner from 2017. Bud, thank you so much for joining us.
Always a pleasure to be here, Sam. Thanks for asking me. And when Gadget wakes up, tell him I said goodbye.
All right, Gadget. Well, did you know there are over 75 million pet dogs in the U.S., more than in any other country? Wow. As this show is a tribute to dogs who offer service, comfort, and therapy, Sherelle Starr helps us understand the details about these different categories.
So we're here at Serindia Blue, and I have Dana Humphreys, the pet lady, with me. So great to have you, Dana.
Thank you.
And this is Charlie, and what I understand is you go everywhere with this French Bulldog.
Yes, I love Charlie. He is a very good boy. He's a Frenchie. We adopted him a couple years ago, and he's 4.
Well, Charlie is behaving very well for the cameras, but the real reason I asked you here was really to talk about therapy dogs and service dogs, and really what's the difference between those two categories of dogs?
Yeah, well, there's a big trend now of everyone wanting to bring their dog with them everywhere. And so it's a little bit of a disadvantage for those who actually need a service dog. You know, for those people who have some kind of disability and they need to have a service dog with them, it's unfair to just go online and buy some kind of vest so that you can sneak your dog with you. It is a misdemeanor, and in some places it's even a felony. So don't do it. It's not nice. You can, according to the ADA, you can get a fine. Service dogs are well trained. They are able to respond to their owner's needs if the owner has seizure issues, or sometimes, they need help with certain things, and the dog is specifically trained to help them. So we don't want to take advantage of this. A lot of restaurant owners are kind of getting hip to it and just refusing people to bring their service dogs into the venue.
And also for service dogs, I know that they are the only type of animals that the American Disabilities Association recognizes, correct?
Yes.
Which is why you want to make sure you have them certified if they ever service dog.
Yes, you go through the ADA to get certified, and they have, they have a process where you can do that.
So I've learned there are benefits to having a service dog. They are recognized in restaurants, on airplanes. That's very different than therapy dogs, correct?
Exactly, yes. A service dog can go with their owner everywhere because they're specifically trained to help them with their need. Whereas a therapy team, they have special access to places like hospitals, maybe some kind of rehab center, and they're there to just, bring a smile to the patients there. And so you wouldn't bring a regular pet into those locations. A therapy team is really there to, provide some kind of therapy. And you can become an AKC Good Canine Citizen therapy team if your dog is really sensitive, not reactive, and that's a great thing to do. You can find a local trainer, get certified, and then volunteer. You can go to hospitals, you can go to different locations where, they would love to see a bright smile from a beautiful face like Charlie's, for example, to just brighten their day. Maybe they're going through chemo or some kind of treatment, and as a certified therapy team, you can go in, and really your job is just to bring some four-legged fun into a setting where, their day is a little bit dreary.
And what's the difference between therapy dogs or teams and comfort dogs?
Well, a comfort dog, Charlie could be a comfort dog. He provides comfort to everyone.
Right. So we've seen in the news right after tragedies, therapy dogs and comfort dogs being brought in to sort of help people get over, a situation, or sort of bring them a little bit of comfort. So how do you really get classified in that?
Yeah, dogs go across religions, languages. When, maybe it's hard to get through to someone, if you bring a dog into a room or an animal into a room, it can bring a smile on someone's face when they're going through a time of distress. So it can be really therapeutic for someone who's going through a stressful time.
And anything else we should know about these different categories and classifications of dogs?
If you have a dog that's non-reactive and really kind of has a special personality and is very understanding and gentle, I encourage you to become a therapy team. You, as the handler, would go with your dog everywhere. And please don't break the law and try to pretend that your dog is a service animal when they might not be.
Yeah, don't get caught on the plane. Yes. We don't want this to happen to you. Well, Dana, thank you so much for coming and chatting with us today. Where can people find more information about you and all of your wonderful tips?
Yeah, you can follow #ThePetLady or thepetlady.net.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Dana. And Sam, back to you.
As we've seen throughout this show, we have dogs who offer service, therapy, and comfort, but sometimes our dogs do much more for us by just going for a walk. And it's time for the latest installment of Chester Walks, right? This is your friend Chester. Looks refreshing and a healthy way to begin any day, and I finally got to meet Chester today, and I know Gadget is good friends with Chester. For more dog sports news, the Portuguese Water Dog Club of America held its 27th national specialty in Frankenmuth, Michigan at the end of August. Best of breed was awarded to JoJo, handled by Don Powell and bred by and owned by Mary and Ron Salvery. And this weekend in Jackson, Michigan, the Jackson Kennel Club held back-to-back shows. Best in Show Saturday was Burns, the long-haired dachshund. Best in Show Sunday, Celine, the West Highland White Terrier. Congratulations to these winners. A programming note, we will be live streaming the group and Best in Show judging on September 7th from the Tuxedo Park Kennel Club. That's in Bridgewater, New Jersey. And coverage begins 12:45 Eastern Time. Stay tuned for Canine Heroes celebrating the 2017 ACE Award winners following Bud Boccone in the doghouse on the Dogs of 9/11. That's next on AKC TV. I'm Sam Ryan. Thanks for joining me, and thank you to my co-host today, Gadget. Thank you to all of the dogs from 9/11 and to the dogs who give valiantly in comfort, therapy, and service. Be sure to download AKC TV on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. AKC TV, it's Good Dog TV. We leave you with our Good Dog Moment of the Week, courtesy of Crufts 2017. Send us your Good Dog Moment to akc.tv/submit.
Furniture provided by the dog-friendly Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams. Comfort for all.